welcome to our first episode of 2016.
I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Now, to understand exactly what Martin Luther King Jr. did in the 1950s and 60s, we have to cover some background. You probably know that slavery used to exist in America. People were brought over from Africa in horrible conditions and forced to work for free. It was a really bad thing that went on for hundreds of years, until President Abraham Lincoln freed them all at the end of the Civil War. Now, that is an interesting subject that we're definitely going to cover in a different episode. But the important thing for today is that Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation didn't solve everything for African Americans. The southern states weren't happy about losing the war. Spoiler alert, they had relied on slavery and didn't like being told they had to treat African Americans like equals. Instead, people in those states called them separate but equal, and set about passing laws to keep them second-class citizens. African Americans couldn't get bank loans, they couldn't go to good schools, and they were prevented from voting. This was called segregation, which was enforced with Jim Crow laws. That name came from this guy, a character from the 1830s, played by a white actor with his face painted black. It was a term used to put down African Americans. This was the world Martin Luther King was born into. When he was at school, Dr. King heard about a guy called Mahatma Gandhi, who fought for India's independence from the British Empire. This is another big subject we'll do an episode on. But the thing about Gandhi is he had a secret weapon. Instead of fighting his oppressors with violence, he resisted them with nonviolence. Protesting, drawing public attention, taking beatings, and being arrested. This is the way Gandhi's followers showed the British they were wrong and they were being mean. It worked, and India declared its independence. Dr. King was inspired by what Gandhi had achieved, and he thought it could work in the USA. Organizations like the NAACP were trying to change Jim Crow laws. In 1954, the Supreme Court finally declared segregation in public schools was illegal. Obviously, someone working with the NAACP called Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus for a white person. This is considered to be the beginning of a thing called the Civil Rights Movement. Dr. Martin Luther King was one of its most important leaders. He created his own group called the SCLC. He organized many important protests throughout the South, risking injury and getting arrested. Actually, a lot of people were angry at him and wanted to kill him, but he didn't let that stop him because he knew what he was doing was right. In 1963, he led the March on Washington, where he stood before the Lincoln Memorial and gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. You guys should watch on YouTube. It's really good. Once you finish watching this one, you should probably go watch that one. Because of the work of Dr. King and many others, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act, finally outlawing all racial discrimination. Unfortunately, Dr. King's story has a sad ending. He was murdered on April 4th, 1968. He was only 39 years old, but he achieved more than most people who live twice as long. I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, we always like new subscribers and likes. And it would be awesome if you guys can share this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.